This is a video about running shoes, a topic which is near and dear to my heart. I usually like to buy New Balance shoes because they come in 4E. This video is about their neutral running shoes, not their super shoes, not their support shoes. The problem is, well, normally there are some pretty good Labor Day sales on their premium models, and I didn't see any of those this Labor Day. The next time sales come out is when they introduce new models, and also Black Friday is a good day. But given what I've seen so far, I don't know if they will come on sale. I think they will for Black Friday, but the prices might not be that good. So I've been looking at some of the cheaper New Balance options. Um, this is the Kaiha or Kaiha or however you pronounce it. And the nice thing about these is the stack heights are similar to their max cushion neutral shoes, but the initial costs are a lot lower. These list at $99, but they can be found on sale, as I guess there's not much known about them. As you can see, this is a ton of Fresh Foam X in the stack. I assume that these are cost reduced by um, reducing comfort or quality or features in the upper. I can generally live with that. I generally buy shoes mainly for the foam, and the upper is a secondary consideration. Although uh, it is a factor. I mean, well, let me go on. So what I currently run in is the 880 V12. Uh, this is last year's model. You can get it for about $90 to $95 at Zappos. I bought mine for about, I think, $68 or $69 on sale earlier this year. There were a lot of these on sale. It shows New Balance Factory Outlet. Um, this is a what's called a daily trainer. I would call it a workhorse daily trainer. Supposedly, you can get 500 miles out of this. Uh, as you can see here, they have a thick slab of rubber on the outsole. So um, all of the other shoes don't have this. They have some rubber and a lot of exposed foam. And what I found is that um, after you get to between 200 and 250 miles, the the outsole rubber is gone in some spots, and you start wearing down the foam. The foam wears really, really fast. So once you get to that point, um, you can wear down the bottom of the shoe pretty fast. So this shoe has a really thick slab of rubber. So you're not going to get to the midsole foam anytime soon. So you can get a good amount of wear out of this. The question is will the foam hold up for those miles? And I've heard people say that it does. So I expect to get a lot of miles out of this shoe. This shoe is different from the others in that it has a layer of fuel cell, which is their performance foam in the front two-thirds, and then it has Fresh Foam X over it. Uh, this foam is supposed to be bouncier, and I'm not a good enough runner to tell, but I find this a nice daily trainer. The upper on this is kind of thick. It runs on the hotter side. I live in a cooler climate, so I'm fine with it. So that's the 880 V12, which is my current daily trainer. I also have the More V3. As you can see, this is definitely a max cushion shoe. There is not. This has less outsole rubber than these do. It looks like it has a lot here, but it's an illusion. That if you look at the bottom of the shoe, you can see that there's a lot of exposed midsole foam. It's all Fresh Foam X. It's very plush and soft, and there's lots of toe box room in terms of height. It's very, very wide. Um, the upper's fine, although it's I guess an engineered knit, but it's not stretchy. The other shoe that I currently run in, although I use it more of a recovery shoe now, is the 1080 V12. This is my absolute favorite shoe. It's very soft. You don't really feel much when you're running, and it's probably a quarter of a size extra long and extra wide. So the 4E feels almost like a 5E or 6E, and I have really wide feet. It's also great if you have high arches. The thing about this shoe is that the list is 160, and basically, if you want it, you have to pay 160. It is very, very hard to find a discount on this shoe. There are discounted models on eBay, but I prefer to shop at just plain old retailers. And the best I can get is 15% off with a senior discount. So, great shoe. They just won't lower the price. They won't discount it. I suspect that this thing is incredibly popular, which is why they don't feel that they have to discount it. But if I could get this at $80, I'd probably buy like 5 of them. We'll see on Black Friday. The More V3, I got these at $75 this past spring on sale at Joe's New Balance. So the models, when I say they're cheaper models for sale, it's this model here, which is I think normally $100, and this model here, which is I think $100 retail. This is the Evoz V3. I've never tried this, and the thing about this and this is that there are practically no reviews on this on YouTube. I have had difficulty finding statistics on it, like what the stack height is, what the drop is, details about true to size on the upper, and so on. So most of the reviews on the Evoz, I think I've seen, are in Spanish. I've heard that these shoes are more popular in Europe, so they may be made for different markets than the U.S., but I wanted to talk to them because they may be an option here if you're looking for something lower priced, but with a ton of foam. And clearly, I'll just call it the Kaiha. I don't know how to pronounce it. This and the Evoz have a lot of foam. I think the Kaiha has more foam than the Evoz, but they're both still pretty generous. So let's just take a quick peek at this. So we'll just look at these two shoes, the Kaiha and the 1080 V12. This appears to have more foam. They appear to be similarly rocker designs, like you can see this large curve off in the heel section. It looks like there's a little bit thicker foam in the toe, so maybe the drop is a little bit less in this. The drop on the 1080 V12 is 8 millimeters. So if we compare it to the More V4, you have this similar rocker, you have a similar amount of foam in the forefoot, and you have a brick of foam in the midfoot. By the way, sometimes shoes have these rails, and you can't really tell if the foam goes all the way up to here or if it goes up to here or somewhere in between, but these shoes kind of look similarly enough that maybe the amount of foam is similar. One minor detail you notice is that there's this little tail over here, so when you rock her over, you have some foam up here, whereas it's rounded in the other direction over here. So that's one minor difference. If we compare it with the Evoz V3, this is a flatter bottom going back to the heel. There isn't as much rounding, so there's less rocker action. It looks like there's less foam, and this is the 880 V12, which is known to have a lower stack height than the Moore and the 1080 V12, and I'm assuming also the Kaiha and the Evoz. Then we can compare it to the Moore. It looks similar. The Moore V3 also has this thing sticking out the back, whereas this is kind of more of a flat drop, or just slightly rounded on the other direction. So just to do a quick comparison, we're going to look at the 1080 V12, which again is my favorite. Here's the Moore. The Moore V4 clearly has more stack than the 1080. Oh, one thing that I love about the 1080 V12 is it has a stretchy upper. So you can push your toes up and the shoe just stretches with you, or you can stick your toes to the side and it just stretches with you. If you don't have the stretchy material, then if you push your toes through the material, you might eventually wear a hole through them. I've kind of done that when I don't trim my toenails. It's a real pain in the neck to poke a hole through the shoe. Usually my solution is to put a little tape on the inside, and that's a patch. But the Moore and the 880 V12 do not have a stretchy upper. So this is one premium feature that I do like, but if it comes down to paying $80 more for a shoe, then I'll just go with the regular knit as opposed to the stretchy, or I'll forego the knit, the stretchy. So here's the Evoz V3. This looks like it has more foam than this one does. Which is the right? The Evoz might be sorry, a bit closer to V12. I think this model has a little bit less foam than the Kaiha, but it does look like it has more foam than well. It looks like it has more foam in this area, but about the same amount of foam in this area. And the back looks like it has similar amounts of foam. There have been a gazillion reviews done on the 1080 V12 and the 880, so also a gazillion reviews on the Moore V3, so I don't need to talk about those. I can compare the Moore V4. We've already done that with this, and the Evoz. It does look like there's more foam here and there's more foam here than here. So again, I think that the Evoz V3 is closer to the 1080 V12, and the Kaiha is closer to the Moore V3 and Moore V4. You can obviously tell that there's a huge stack difference between the Moore V4 and the 880 V12, but the 880 V12 is really one of their low-priced options in this space. Well, traditional low price. The Kaiha and the Evoz are even more low cost. And I actually had never heard of these two models before this year. So that's about all the comparisons that I care to do. The Kaiha is available at DSW in my area, and I was thinking of going over and checking the length. One of the things I look in reviews is if the length and the width are true to size, because I need 4E or 6E. And so since there are no real reviews out on these two shoes, I was thinking of going to DSW and then just taking my current shoe and putting it up against the same size shoe in the Kaiha. They only carry size D in width, so I won't even be able to get the shoe on. But if the lengths are the same, then, or if it's different, I can tell whether it's true to size or larger than true to size or smaller than true to size, and I can size it for purchase. The other one, the Evoz V3, it's cheap enough so that I could just buy one and try it out. I seriously hate to buy a pair of shoes and not use them. I don't think that'll be the case here, given the amount of foam, even if the upper isn't the best. It gets down to about minus 20 degrees in my area, so even if this is a thick upper that's really warm, I can just wear it in the wintertime. So that's my video. If and when I buy some of these, I will do an update. This is an option just to save a few bucks. There are a lot of runners out there who don't really care about the price. They'll buy $180, $250 shoes, new models when they come out. I like to pay between about 60 and 80 bucks for running shoes, and so this is just one of the things that I do. I also like to have a couple of pairs on the shelf in case there's a running shoe shortage like there was in 2021. That was an incredible pain in the neck where it was very difficult to get shoes in my size at all, much less find them on discount. So that's it. If you've tried these shoes, particularly the Kaiha and the Evoz V3, and you have statistics on how it feels compared to these other shoes, what the upper is like, if it's true to size and width and length, please post a comment.